Barrel aging is a little bit like alchemy, I guess. There's a certain sort of magic and mystery in the process.
Barrel aging is not a new trend in the beer world, but rather a venerable tradition that requires time, dedication, and dexterity. The guys at Almanac Brewery are doing it right.
Cheers. Jesse and I met in a homebrew club about 4 years ago. We instantly got to talking. I had arrived with a bottle of my homebrew, and I had spent an inordinate amount of time designing the label. Jesse sort of noticed it and said, I'd never heard of this brewery before. And I said, well, it's because it's my homebrew. A few months of talking about opening a restaurant or a homebrew shop or a bar, we decided that what we were really passionate about was making beer.
The name Almanac comes from a farmer's almanac. It's a record of past seasons. So if you're a farmer, you can look up and see, expected rainfall on any given day, what time the sunrise, sunset is, things like that. And for us, since we brew with local farms and we use real produce and everything, the beers are actually a record of a time and a place. And so the beers are an almanac of the seasons.
The historic Dogpatch District in San Francisco is not only home to Almanac, but also wizard wine and vermouth maker Carl Sutton.
Hey guys.
Hey Carl.
Sutton Cellars. I'm gonna make a Sutton and soda for you.
It occurs to me now I did drive here today.
So what we're gonna try here is something from the original barrel of La Solera. This has been in this barrel for a decade or so.
Wow.
You never really know what's going to happen once something goes into the barrel 12 months or 18 months or 24 months. And that's part of the excitement again, part of the magic.
Variable oak porousness results in the loss of fluid volume, which in turn means an increase in the concentration of flavors.
We really get fired up about barrel-aged beers just because, the barrel aging process generally tends to add quite a bit of complexity and depth to the beer.
So I know a little bit about what you guys do, and I know that part of it involves barrel aging.
So actually I brought a bottle. So this is Barrel Noir. It's a Belgian style dark ale brewed with Belgian candy sugar, so you get all that great dried fruit character from that. And then we aged that in Fitzgerald and Heaven Hill barrels for 6 months.
Very cool.
And then blended that back with fresh beer.
As the beers sort of progress in barrel and we taste them and we decide sort of what's coming up and what's ready, that's when we sort of decide what can go into the blend. So I think that's the funnest part for me, is sort of not knowing right out of the gate, what the sort of end goal is. And because barrels are breathing, living creatures, essentially, there's a certain kind of evolution that happens just, again, mysteriously.
The wood absorbs and then expunges back out the beer just like it would wine. And every time it does that, it pulls in a little wine flavor or beer flavor into the oak, and then the oak pushes it back out. We really trust the barrels that if you put all the good stuff into the barrels and treat the barrels right, the barrel itself is going to reward us back with a delicious beer coming back out of it. It's great because we let the winemakers pick up the tab for buying fresh barrels, and by the time they're done with them, they're perfectly seasoned and ready to go for us. Welcome to Hermitage, our brewery in San Jose, California. Hermitage is what we call a contract brewery, so they provide a home for gypsy breweries like us that don't own our own equipment. The barrel aging program is broken down really into 2 categories. We have beers we age in spirits barrels.
Right behind us, we have a bourbon barrel program as well as some brandy barrels.
The other side is our wine barrel aging program, where we inoculate with a cocktail of wild Belgian yeast and bacteria.
So this is a whiskey thief. We use it to pull a sample out of the barrels, specifically designed it reaches in all the way into the barrel, and then we seal the top of it so it holds a vacuum, and then we can pull the sample back out.
Oxygenation alleviates hop aromas and emphasizes maltiness. Too much oxygen in the barrel can ruin a beer.
We have a stainless steel nail down at the bottom here. Here it comes. Cheers.
It's good.
Wow. It's really good.
Wow. Just seeing what's happened with Almanac in the last couple of years, it's pretty clear that the American palate's ready for what we're doing.
Which came first, beer or wine.
Winemakers and brewmakers, I think historically have always been portrayed as cat and mouse when it takes a lot of great beer to make wine.
It's less about what category does this fit into and more about, is this delicious?
Is it good? Is it going to give you pleasure?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Is it delicious, and does it represent sort of our vision for what we're trying to create?
Being such a small company, we've been able to remain, absolutely close to everything that we've done, whether it's the sort of visual identity of the company or the beers we're producing. So everything that we put out there is really a very honest reflection of ourselves and what we want to put out there.
Even though the barrels are hard at work, you'll never hear them say they don't have time to breathe. If you're a lover of all things beer and science, please subscribe and look out for our next episode.